Alright friends, we are going to push forward with even more selection tools. So in our last demo, I showed you how to use the quick selection tool, and in another video I am going to have to go and get a newer version of Photoshop so that I can show you the object selection tool, which is really absolutely amazing, and a newer tool. But with that said, it doesn't mean that these older selection tools are obsolete, right? We're going to find that even some of the most basic tools, like you've seen me jump back to the lasso tool a couple times probably in these demos, because I think that it's just really useful to clean up selections with the lasso tool sometimes, and it's just really easy to use. And I just want to show you as many ways of making selections as I possibly can. So the next way I'm going to show you is color selections, making selections based on color. Now, once again, this is probably not going to be the way that you're going to want to select really odd edges, right? When I say odd edges, I mean like the edge between this person's hair in the background, the edge between trees and the sky, or any of that crazy stuff, right? The best tools for that is going to be select and mask, always, always, always. So, but this is a really useful tool to just go in and select specific colors. So what we're going to do to make a selection based on color is we're going to go to the Select menu, and we're going to scroll down to Color Range. Once I open that, we see the Color Range dialog box pops open, and we have this really weird version of our photo. It actually kind of looks cool just how it is right there, but probably not what you want. So as you click around your image, you see that you have this little bullseye, which means that the eyedropper tool is selected with this when you open this dialog box. And as I click around the image, we see that I am making a selection based on the color information. So I'm selecting this background. So if we look down here in this dialog box, essentially what's happening, or this preview window, is everything that's white is what's selected, everything that's black is not selected. Okay, so that's pretty that's a pretty wide range right here, because we see that, right, her eyes are selected, her skin is selected, the background is selected. So let's actually bring the fuzziness down a little bit, and we see that now it's a little bit more of a refined selection. So remember, you can always add into the selection. So now what's selected is just the white, right? And as the backdrop gets a little bit darker behind her, we're going to have to add that in. So I'm just going to go and hit the eyedropper tool with the plus sign, and I'm going to add that information in. And now we see that in this little preview window that it's getting a little bit more refined of a way of making a selection. Now we can also select, or we can preview the selections on different backdrops, right? Things are getting pretty weird here. On a black mat, on a white mat, or on a quick mask. That's just showing us essentially what it's going to look like based on the selection. So just with a couple clicks, I got it here. Now we do notice that, you know, one problem with this is the background is all selected, which is great, but so are the whites of her eyes, right? So we probably wouldn't, you know, this might not be the best tool for this, but we could say, okay, make that selection, and then we could go in with the lasso tool and the lasso tool, and hold down Option and just kind of loop around those eyes and get rid of that selection, and also clean it up a little bit there. So that, you know, it's a way of making selection. Now it's not going to be like the select and mask with the hair, so maybe not the thing that I would want to do with this particular photo, but let's go to a photo that I would want to do this with. So here's this abstract photo of paint, and I could go in and, you know, say that I shot this photo of this dripping paint and I like it, but I want to change the colors. I don't like the blue, orange, reds, and so I want to change those colors. So I'm going to go to Select Color Range, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to click around here. I'm going to actually change this back to actually we'll leave it on Quick Mask, and actually I'm going to turn that off because I forgot what the image looks like. Let's go on a white mask. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm like none. And I want to get rid of, let's say I want to get rid of this orange. I want to change this orange to something else. I want to change it maybe to like an aquamarine type color. So now I am going to go and turn the Quick Mask on, and I am going to start clicking in the actual orange. I could maybe bump up the fuzziness. I think that's a fuzzy, that's a funny word for what they're describing. I'm going to go to plus, and I'm going to add some information to it. So now we see in this little preview what I have selected. That looks pretty good to me. I might want to select a little bit more down here. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. I mean, you know, that's quite a bit of the image, but I think I like it. So I'm just going to hit okay. And now I'm going to do a different color fill, right? So now I'm just going to go and do layer, new fill layer, solid color. And first I'm just going to start with the mode of normal. We're going to talk about blending modes in a couple weeks, but we'll give a little preview here and hit OK. And so I said I wanted to make it a little aquamarine color. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pick, I don't know, that looks kind of good to me. I'm just going to pick a color fill layer. Let's actually bring it down a little bit more. That looks a little dusty. Yeah, that looks good to me. Something like that. Okay, so I don't necessarily think that that looks that great compared to what it was, but, you know, it has changed. I think what I would do in an image like this is I wouldn't blend it to normal. I would blend it to some kind of color blend. And so let me give you a little preview of the layer blending that we're going to be doing later on. So with the layer selected right here, I'm just going to go to this drop-down menu in the layers property box, and I'm going to go down to, let's say, where's the color? Color, almost at the bottom. Color. Now we see that it's actually blended a little bit nicer. When it's just on normal, essentially what you're doing is you're just pasting this solid color over the top of the selection, where if we go and we open up the color blend mode right there, it blends with the background information, right? So it's not just putting this opaque fill layer over the top, it's actually blending with the background. So with this image, we started with this like red orangey thing, and we ended up with this like kind of blue magenta purpley thing, which I think is pretty cool. So that's a really good useful tool, right? The color mode is really useful for that. Let's actually go and make another color selection really quick. So I'm going to go select color range. Let's say I want to get rid of this blue now. Okay. I'm going to kind of increase the fuzziness, and I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to go layer, new fill layer, solid color. Let's bump. So this is where else you can change the blend mode is right here to color. And I am going to say, okay. And I'm going to change this to like a yellow. I don't know. Why not? Okay. That looks all right to me. I think I would have probably done a better job masking this puppy out, but you get the point, right? You could keep clicking around in color mode, or actually, let's just actually go back and do it the correct way. So select color range. I'm going to click this color range, and I'm going to hit the plus sign so that I can kind of refine my selection, because that last one that I did, it just really wasn't that refined. Now I'm going to maybe make the fuzziness a little bit higher. I don't know, maybe that's a little too much. Maybe something like that. Looks good to me. Hit OK. Now I'm going to go layer, fill, solid color, blend color mode. So this is a really useful way of changing the colors of something, right? So if you photograph somebody with a, you know, a red shirt and you wanted to make it a different color, this is how you could do that, right? So just with those, you know, with that really quick edit, I was able to change this abstract image into this abstract image, which I think is kind of beautiful and, you know, pretty easy to do. And it works especially, you know, with an area like this where you're just kind of picking out colors, because I might have picked this color out, this blue color originally down here, but I wouldn't have been able to go through and select all of the blue up here. But just using the color range, I was able to kind of, just by selecting this, it also picked up the blues in that and changed them to yellows. Let's actually go back to this photo, and I'll just show you color range one more time. Select color range. I don't like this lady's red sweater. So let's go and let's add to it a little bit. You gotta kind of refine the selection a little bit when you use this tool. That looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna hit OK. And now I'm gonna go layer, fill layer, solid color. I'm gonna go down to the color mode. OK. Let's change it, I don't know, green or something? I don't know, that looks good to me. And now she has a green sweater. So that's a really useful tool if you want to just change something, change the color of something really quick. That is the color range selection tool. So I hope you find that useful.